What is up everyone, Hero276 here, and welcome to today's video, and welcome back to my channel. Today, you're going to be witnessing one of my craziest teams yet, Triple Poison, at a 72% win rate, taking on the Open Great League. This is a team that I would not recommend using despite its deceptively high win rate, as it's got a lot of problems up against Mud Boys and Steel types, but I did manage to have some success with it. This team consists of a Scun tank, with Trailblaze as the second move. I'm also using a Quillfish and a Clodsire. So definitely enjoy these battles, but before we dive in, I just want to give a special shout out to my Spotify page. If you're enjoying the music used in this video and other videos, please consider checking out my Spotify, as it's got all of my music up there. That being said, let's dive right into today's video. Alright, and in this video, we're going to be showcasing a 5-0 set and 2 bonus battles. Hopping into the first game, picking up a decent lead Scun tank into Umbreon. We do at the very least resist the fast move pressure, as well as their standard move of Foul Play, so they're forced to go for Last Resort, but in this case, this Umbreon is running Psychic. I decide to go for Trailblaze as it does do neutral damage in this matchup. Trailblaze will also raise our attack by 1 stage, so now these poison jabs are doing a little bit more damage. Again, I'm going to no shield here, anything they throw is resisted, Foul Play not going to do a ton of damage, and once again I'm going to go for another Trailblaze. Trailblaze here will do some solid neutral damage onto Umbreon. Umbreon decides to commit the shield. I switch into Quillfish to catch their charge move. I can survive it from this range. Foul Play not going to do a ton of damage, and I'm just going to farm up some energy. In comes Superior trying to catch the Aqua Tail, but instead they're going to get hit with the Sludge Wave. Sludge Wave one-shots the Superior, taking it out from nearly full health. Back in comes the Umbreon, but I'm going to go straight for the Aqua Tail here. Aqua Tail forces the second shield from my opponent, and you know what? They're weak to Quillfish. I want to showcase it. I shield up the Psychic, and I'm able to overfarm slightly before going for the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail will KO the Umbreon from this range, and now in the back is Azumarill, and this game is over. What I'm going to look to do is come in with the Scun tank and force them to throw their energy, otherwise it would have made it to a Trailblaze. And then, I'm just going to let the move go through. It is the Ice Beam that's going to KO, but we have Clodsire. Clodsire is going to put in some massive work up against this Azumarill, and even though we are taking super effective damage from these bubbles, we will be able to return with super effective damage with the Sludge Bomb. Clodsire also holds the upper hand in terms of shield advantage, so I can safely shield the Ice Beam, and I'm going to be able to make it to a Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb will just about KO from this range, and we take the win. Hopping into game number 2, picking up a nice lead into Cresselia. Scun tank is my only dark type on this team, so seeing the bulky Psychic type Cresselia on the lead definitely helps me in this situation. Scun tank is going to be able to connect for some nice super effective damage with the Crunch, and Cresselia is going for a charge move. I can survive a move from this range, but it looks like this Cresselia is running Future Sight, which definitely makes my job a lot easier, since all of the moves that they're throwing here are resisted. Gonna go for the Crunch, opponent decides to commit the shield, and I'm gonna shield up myself. I'm going to be able to dictate alignment if I can get this Cresselia out of here, but my opponent does pivot out of the matchup into a Crustle. Now what I should be doing is switching out into Quillfish and saving the Crunch for later. As you're going to see, I switch into Quillfish after throwing the Crunch, and now I have no threatening energy for that Cresselia. I do get a shield with the Aqua Tail, and at this point I'm just looking to get rid of the Crustle, so I'm going to shield myself. I'm going to farm up a little bit of energy just before Crustle gets to the Rock Slide, and I'm going to throw the Aqua Tail. This will do more than enough damage to KO the Crustle from this health range, and my opponent sends in their third, it's Shiftry. So what I'm going to look to do is go for the Aqua Tail here. They would have outpaced me to the Sludge Wave, and I can't have that, so I want to look for some guaranteed damage. I do decide to overfarm there, but my opponent decides to throw their charge move. But Shiftry is already below half health, so at this point, what I'm going to look to do is come in with the Clodsire and get ahead on energy. I know I can tank multiple moves from this health range. Clodsire is extremely bulky. Leaf Blade, not going to do a ton of damage. And I go for the Sludge Bomb in between their Snarl, so there's no way that they can catch onto the Cresselia. Shiftry goes down, my opponent surrenders, and that is game, set, and match. Hopping into game number 3, picking up a tough lead into Lantern. Lantern pretty much outbulks this whole team and delivers super effective damage to both Clodsire and Qwilfish. I'm forced to stay in here with the Skuntank, but I will be able to absorb one move from this health range. And now I'm going to go for the Trailblazes. We'll actually hit for super effective damage and raise our attack by 1 stage. And the important thing about this Trailblaze landing is that now my opponent's forced to throw energy to take me out, and I can overload on energy with either the Qwilfish or the Clodsire. I decide the Clodsire, and I get in the perfect farm down. I leave with the move, and it's Quagsire in the back. This is atrociously bad. Quagsire hits this entire team for super effective damage, and my one user with the grass type, that being the Skuntank, is already gone. Meaning, I have no choice here but to stay in. My opponent did commit a shield, so I'm hoping that Qwilfish with a shield advantage should be able to take care of business. Mud Bomb nearly KOs, but I'm able to make it to another Earthquake. Earthquake is going to connect and do some nice damage onto the Quagsire, and now to avoid the farm down, I'm going to switch into Qwilfish. Qwilfish does win the CMP tie. Aqua Tail going to be getting the Quagsire extremely low, but I am unfortunately forced to burn a shield because the Aqua Tail doesn't KO. At the very least, we do have Skeledirge in the back, and these Aqua Tails are really going to hurt. So maybe this game is winnable. Going to go for the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail's going to be grabbing the final shield, and as the Qwilfish, I'm going to shield up. This is likely a disarming voice bait, but I still have to respect the Shadow Ball because they did build up to it. And now I have the back-to-back Aqua Tails. I need 2 Aqua Tails to do enough damage to the Skeledirge, and we're able to get off Aqua Tail number 2. This will KO the Skeledirge. And even though that Quagsire looked impossible to overcome, we find a way to win. Hopping into the next one, leading directly into Quagsire, this is Code Red. Unfortunately, my opponent here just hits for massive super effective damage, and all I can do is hope. Hope that they no-shield the Trailblaze. So I'm going to full send the Trailblaze after no-shielding the Mud Bomb, and I am able to win the CMP tie. Trailblaze here, going to be doing some massive super effective damage, and this is perfect. Quagsire is basically KO'd, and I'm going to look for energy on the Qwilfish after getting in 1 Poison Sting. Opponent sends in Frostlass, so it's not over yet. Frostlass has a very good matchup up against my Clodsire in the back, so I have to use Qwilfish to get rid of it. And now, I have to commit the shield on the Qwilfish. Qwilfish cannot take a hit. They go for the Avalanche, as I expected. Avalanche would just about KO anyways, and now I'm going to go for the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail here, going to grab a shield from the Frostlass, and I'm able to get off a second. This will start to get the Frostlass low. Can I make it to another move to KO the Frostlass? I cannot. And from here, what I'm going to look to do is just let the Qwilfish go. Qwilfish gets taken out, but they have another Avalanche for my Clodsire, so I'm forced to burn the final shield, but I do get a nice Poison Sting farm down. In the back, they have Chestnut. Again, game is not over yet. 2 Frenzy Plants will just about KO, so I need to make it to 3 Sludge Bombs. I make it to the first. All shields are down. Frenzy Plant coming through. It's going to do a lot of damage. Clodsire is still tanky though, but my opponent surrenders the match. They definitely had a win con in that. However, they end up giving me the win. Hopping into the next one, picking up a lead into Ludicolo. Ludicolo does take massive super effective damage from poison, so the whole team in general doesn't have a terrible matchup against it, and then they pivot into Dugong. Trailblaze is able to connect, and that gets the Dugong quite low. From here, I decide to no-shield the charge move. Even if it is a drill run, it would KO, and I would just look to get on energy in one of my final 2 Pokemon, but as you're going to see, it's just the Icy Wind, and Icy Wind doesn't do a ton of damage. I was hoping that I would be able to make it to a second crunch, but unfortunately I'm unable to do so, and this leaves with a kind of uncomfortable farm down range for the Qwilfish when it comes in. Qwilfish here will take massive super effective damage from the drill run, so I'm forced to burn a shield. Opponent Icy Wind baits, and now looking for the farm down, but because of the debuff I cannot get it, so I'm forced to burn the second shield as drill run does get shielded. And now Qwilfish has a ton of energy. In comes the Ludicolo, gonna go for the Sludge Wave. Sludge Wave is gonna do massive super effective damage, so they are going to shield it up. And Ludicolo is able to make it to the Leaf Storm, which will KO the Qwilfish. It's all up to Clodsire. In comes their final Pokemon, and it's Wigglytuff. Gonna go for the Sludge Bomb. 1 win condition in sight. I have to leave with back-to-back charge moves. Am I going to be able to make it to 2 Sludge Bombs? I am not. Wigglytuff gets to the Icy Wind, and this will actually debuff my attack, so this is not looking too good, but I do have a lot of energy. This Sludge Bomb here is going to KO the Wigglytuff, and now I have another Sludge Bomb saved. Is a debuffed Sludge Bomb able to KO the Ludicolo? It is not. I have to rely on the Farm Down, and Clodsire gets it, and we take the win. And that'll just about do it for the 5-0 set. Going to quick catch this Phantump and then move right on to the 2 bonus battles. Hopping into the first of 2 bonus battles, picking up a lead into Hypno. With Skuntank being my only dark type, very similar to that Cresselia lead, this is a very good place for me. I get the Psychic type out of the way, and I'm able to hit it for massive super effective damage with the Crunch, and in this case, I even force a shield. Opponent has built up a lot of energy, and because they shielded, I will shield in return. Opponent goes for the Thunder Punch. I should have been able to live that, but that being said, it's better to be safe than sorry. I'm able to heavily outpace to the second Crunch, and the Hypno goes down. In comes Talonflame, and what I'm going to look to do is stay in and hope to get off the Crunch. I do manage to get it off, and Crunch here will do nice damage to the Talonflame, and what I'm going to look for is an energy head start on the Clodsire. Clodsire will be able to body multiple moves from this health range. Flame Charge, not going to do a ton of damage, and even if they make it to a second move, which they do, Clodsire should be able to tank it. Opponent goes for the second Flame Charge, but Clodsire leaves pretty dang healthy, and in the back they have a Azumarill, so I'm going to be able to connect with 1 Sludge Bomb here, and my opponent does not know it yet, but this game is over. I considered going for the BM Earthquake in this instance, but I'm going to go for the Sludge Bomb anyways, as Sludge Bomb does hit for super effective. With Azu at half health, I bring in the Skuntank, same game plan as last time. This will force the Azumarill to empty their energy, as Ice Beam takes out the Skuntank, and Azumarill wants nothing to do with Quillfish, so my opponent surrenders, and that is game, set, and match. Hopping into the final battle, picking up a lead into Shadow Kingdra. What a nice spice pick from my opponent. I am able to outpace here to the Crunch, but I'm actually going to go for the Trailblaze, as I want to ramp up my Poison Jab damage rather than fish for a debuff. My opponent does shield up the Trailblaze, which is quite nice for me. What I'm going to look to do is shield in return, and what I'm going to hope to do is make it to another charge move, because even if I get the debuff, these Poison Jabs are doing enough damage that even a debuffed Crunch would force the KO. Kingdra does let it go through, and I'm able to preserve Switch. In comes Skeledirge, I send in Quillfish, and in the back is Greninja, and we have ourselves a war of spammy glass cannons. Quillfish full sends the Sludge Wave, Quillfish one-shots, and it's just the Skeledirge in the back, so this game is over. Gonna go for the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail, gonna be forcing the shield here from the Skeledirge, and here I decide to no shield. Last time they baited with the Disarming Voice, so I correctly call the bait again, and I'm able to make it to another Aqua Tail. This Aqua Tail will get the Skeledirge quite low. Can I make it to one final move? Yes, I can, and Quillfish has just swept an entire back line. Aqua Tail takes down the Skeledirge, and we take the win. As I mentioned earlier, this is not a team that I would recommend climbing. Despite my 72% win rate, this team has a lot of weaknesses, particularly to ground and steel type Pokemon like Galarian Stunfisk. Before the video ends, I just wanted to thank everyone for a spectacular 2023. We were on the verge of 2,000 subscribers, and a year and a half ago, as soon as this channel started taking off, I had no idea that we would be at this spot, and I've enjoyed servicing some entertaining battles throughout the year. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in 2024.